What's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about 3 real quick easy tips you can use to up your Instagram photo game. Before we get into it, let's roll the intro. Alright guys, so tip number 1 is to actually always shoot in vertical or portrait mode. Now you can upload all you want in horizontal mode, plenty of people do this, but you'll quickly notice that everybody who takes Instagram pretty seriously is going to be uploading all their photos in a portrait orientation, and that's because you take up a lot more real estate on the page within the post. So as somebody's scrolling through, you're the only thing that they can see as they go through. The preferred Instagram crop is 4:5, so you can take everything in vertical mode and then go ahead and crop it into 4:5, either within the Instagram app or in whatever Lightroom or Photoshop software you're using. So I personally use an L bracket. This is not actually the camera that I use. This is just a prop camera. It's broken, so I'm just holding it to kind of illustrate the point. I put an L bracket on mine so that you can always mount it to a tripod. I've talked about this in previous videos in the past. I'll link it somewhere there. This might be super windy, so you can't even hear me anyways. But yeah, always shoot in vertical mode. That's tip. All right, so tip number 2, we're here in one of my favorite locations in all of Ireland. It makes this beautiful little tunnel. You might have seen it on my Instagram in the past. But this second tip is to mix up the angle in which you're taking your shots. So a lot of people, they just walk up to a place, they'll hold their camera up to their eye, start taking shots right from eye level. That's kind of the way that we see the world already, and therefore it's not all that dynamic or interesting. So if you have a drone, fly that up in the air, get some sweet drone shots. But if you don't, you can also just switch it up by getting a little bit low. So if you get right down on the ground, start taking photos on the ground, you can get a nice little foreground element of the ground itself, and that can actually add quite a bit to your photos. So that is tip number 2. So tip number 3, and this can go along well with tip number 2, is put a foreground element in front of your photo. So sometimes I'll pick up something off the ground and put it in front of the lens, and with a lower aperture, this blurs out the foreground quite a bit, so you get a nice dynamic feel to it. Oftentimes, again, this does go along with number 2 because when you're low into the ground, there's bushes or shrubs or leaves or trees in the way somewhere. This just really adds a nice bit of dynamics. It adds more dimension and depth to the image. So I personally like the way that shows up whenever possible. So to recap, there's flies everywhere. So to recap, tip number 1, always shoot in vertical or portrait mode. This helps if you have an L bracket. This camera doesn't, but the one that we're recording with does. Tip number 2, shoot from a different angle, either up in the sky, down below, low to the ground, what have you. Tip number 3 is to shoot through a foreground element because it adds a nice bit of dynamics and depth to your photo. So that's it for the list today, guys. If you did like this video, play thumb more with the like button, subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in the next video. See you.